Surely Allah speaks the truth. Some things I want to point out in that surah. I know I just closed it to just say, surely Allah speaks the truth, but it's sad to say that every time you finish reading something, right? One thing I want to point out is section 2, where God narrates an example of 2 messengers who came to a town. And the messengers told them that they were messengers of God. And the people just told them, y'all lying. And then the messenger said, our guardian Lord knows that we have indeed been sent as Rasuls to you. And our only duty is to convey his message plainly. And then the people said that what they was trying to tell them was evil. That's just how arrogant and how argumentative they were, right? And then the messengers told them, your evil omens be with you. Do you call it evil omen because you are being admonished? Or are the only reason you saying that this is evil because we're sternly warning you? Then the messenger said, indeed, you are a nation of transgressors. And then right here, verses 20 and 21, this one I want to point out. It says, in the meantime, a man came running from the remote part of the city and said, oh, my people, follow these Rasuls. Follow the ones who ask no payment of you and are rightly guided. So that man came out the corner like, hold on, y'all. These people spending their time to try to tell you something when they are real, messengers of God. Of course, it should be a sign to give it at least a little bit of ear because they not asking you for nothing. They not asking you for any payment. That's what he's saying. And then those people end up killing that man who was telling them to listen to the messengers. And then at that point, verse 26, it says, consequently, they killed that man. And it was said to him, enter paradise. He exclaimed, would that my people knew what I know. How my Rab has granted me forgiveness and included me among the honored ones. Like if only my people knew that all they had to do was listen to what those messengers were saying and start believing in God and submitting their will to God. If only they knew what that would bring them, that would straight bring them heaven. And then God simply says, he says, after him, we did not send any army against his people from heaven, nor was it necessary to do so. So we didn't send any more messengers. We didn't send any more nothing. Them people did what they did. So guess what? It was nothing but a single blast and they all became extinct. And then it says right here, do they not see how many generations we have destroyed before them who will never return to them? While each one of them will be brought before us on the day of judgment. And if you really read the Quran, it breaks down like all the generations of people and all the prophets who really came to, well, not all the prophets that Allah decided to mention in the Quran, right? That came to their people with messages and with warnings from God, and they just denied them. And some people say that this story right here in Ya-Seen relates to a certain people, but honestly, this is general right here, because this is basically how every prophethood of people kind of went. It came to them warners from God, telling them to believe in God, submit their will to God, and then they took them as liars. Or they just didn't want to listen just because they were being warned. They just was too hard-headed. And then they ended up killing a lot of their prophets, and then guess what? God either destroyed them or cursed them. Most of them know, but honestly, God destroyed them. The only group of people that he didn't destroy and curse was the children of Israel. But other than that, and that's because he sent multiple prophets to the children of Israel. Right? But other than that, every other group of people, he straight destroyed. And a lot of them times during them certain prophets that the children of Israel didn't listen to, but due to them not listening, God put on them a severe chastisement. But and that's why today I was finna read chapter 26, which is in English called The Poets. And that surah breaks down thoroughly, at the minimum 7 to 8 different prophet stories, and then it describes exactly what these people did in a nutshell. It describes exactly what the prophets were trying to tell them, exactly what these people did in response, and how God destroyed them. So it's just, do they not see how many generations we have destroyed before them who will never return to them? While each one of them will be brought before us on the day of judgment. That's huge. And then just parts that I have underlined right here at the beginning of section 3, verse 33 through 36, it says, the dead land may serve as a sign for them. We give it life and produce from it grain for them, which they eat. We also produce from it gardens and date palms and vines, and we cause springs to gush forth from it, so that they may enjoy the fruits thereof. And then this is the part I want to point out right here. It says, it was not their hands that made all this. Should they not then give thanks? Someone can go put in work in a garden all season, but if it's not for the rain and the sunlight, then that garden and those crops are not gonna grow. And we don't have any control over the rain and the sunlight. Those are substances that comes directly from God, that benefits the entire world. Every time it rains, every time the sun shines, God is doing an extreme favor for this planet and for us. So then he gives that question at the end of verse 35. So should they not then give thanks? Verse 36, glory be to God, who created all things in pairs, the plants of the earth, mankind themselves, and other living things, which they do not know. And then it just starts breaking down all the other signs. Another sign is for them is the night, which we withdraw the daylight from, and behold, they are in darkness. It talks about how the sun rises every day and how the night comes about every day, and how those are on its own course, and how the day can never really overtake the night, and how the night can really never overtake the day, and how that just kind of flows, and how that's all caused by God. And then right here it says, as for the moon, this is verse 39. It says, as for the moon, we have designed phases for it till it again becomes like an old, dry, curved daystalk. Basically, we don't control the moon either. The moon can be shining and be a full sphere in the night sky. And then the moon can be as skinny as a branch from a plant. We don't have any control over that. All of these are clear signs that God exists. All of these are clear signs that God exists. That's why this is called the heart of the Quran, because it just gives you sign after sign, and it just toggles thought, and then it toggles thought again, and then it makes you think again, and it makes you think again, you know? The Prophet Muhammad said out of his own mouth, may peace and blessings be upon him, he said, this surah is considered the heart of it. If the entire Quran is considered a human body, this surah would be the heart of it. Your heart stopped beating for a little second, you done. And then it mentions Noah. It says, another sign for them is how we carry their race through the flood in the laden ark, and similar vessels which we have made for them on which they ride. It says, if we want, we can drown them, and they won't have any helper. But it's the mercy that God puts on us that allows those ships to flow and also allows us to enjoy life for a appointed term. Another thing I want to point out is verse 65. It says, on the day that we pass away, it says, on that day we shall seal their mouths, while their hands will speak to us, and their feet will bear witness to all their misdeeds. Meaning, once we may be some slick talkers, we may be some real gaslighters, some real great liars, and we may know how to finesse and finagle our way and trick people and, you know, do slick stuff and cover things up and get away with things here. But it's going to become a day where our mouths ain't going to be able to talk for us. Only things that's going to be, our hands are going to be outstretched like this. Our feet are going to be outstretched. And that's what's going to talk for us. Nothing but our deeds is going to be able to talk for us. And then we going to get given exactly what we earned. Something to think about, man. Something to really ponder on. And then right here, this, the whole section 5 was read at my grandmother's funeral. Really, it was read at her burial. Shout out Brother Shaheed. He read this at my grandmother's funeral. And I'll just read it all over again. The entire section 5. It says, those to whom we grant long life, we reverse their nature. Meaning whoever we grant long life, you know, towards the end of their life, they're going to become weaker. Same way when they was a baby, they was weak. Do they not understand anything from this? We have not taught him, Muhammad, poetry, nor does it behoove him. This is nothing but a reminder and a plain Quran to warn those who are alive and to establish the charge against the disbelievers. Meaning this ain't no poetry that Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, is out here preaching and pushing. This is a divine message that was sent not only to a subgroup of people, not only towards the children of Israel, not only towards, you know what I'm saying, This message was sent down for all of mankind. What it say? What it say? The guidance for mankind. And it says, do they not see that among the other things which our hands have fashioned, we have created cattle on which are under their domination? You ever been up on a cow close? You ever been up on a horse close? You ever been up on a goat close? I remember we used to go to Little Creek and they used to shave the sheep in front of us. I remember seeing that sheep like, wow, that's a creation. Even if you have like a dog or a cat, you may be looking at that dog or cat sometime and be like, wow, this is a straight creation. But God straight created cattle. It says, we have subjected these animals to them, that they may ride on some and eat of others. In them there are other advantages and drinks for them. Should they not then be grateful? Yet they have taken other gods besides Allah, hoping to get their help. But they do not have the ability to help them. Yet their worshippers stand like warriors, ready to defend them. Woo! Let not their words grieve you, O Muhammad. Surely we have knowledge of all that they conceal and all that they reveal. Meaning don't even trip off of them, cause surely we have knowledge of all that they conceal and all that they reveal. God is the all-knowing. Like I said at the time, in the Quran it says, there's not a leaf that has ever fallen on this planet that God is unaware of. Think about all the leaves that ever fell through the history since Earth was in existence. God knows, not only does he have every one of those leaves that fell, not only does he have it like written down when they fell, how they fell, all of that. You know, it's saying in the Quran, it's never a conversation between two people that God is not the third, or that a conversation between three people that God is not the fourth, you know. Like, God is watching me right now. God might as well be in his living room, sitting on his other couch, looking directly at me, and that's how close he's watching me. And it's just a reminder, even when I sin, right, that God is sitting there like this. And that every human being is assigned at the minimum 2 angels. One angel sits on your right shoulder and records all your good deeds. One angel sits on your left shoulder and records all your bad deeds. But God is ever watching. God is the all-aware. It says, does not man see that we have created him from a sperm? Yet he stands up as an open adversary. He starts making comparisons for us and forgets his own creation. He says, who will give life to bones that have been decomposed? Tell them, he who has created them for the first time will give them life again. He is well versed in every kind of creation. It is he who produces for you the spark from the green tree to kindle fire therewith. Does he who has created the heavens and the earth know power to create the likes of them? Of course he does. He is the all-knowing supreme creator. And then to finish it off, verses 82 and 83, it says, whenever he intends a thing, he needs only to say, be, and it is. Glory be to him who in whose hands is the kingdom of all things, and to whom you shall all be brought back. And you know, I've read every surah in this book, y'all. I've read every chapter from the long 2-3 hour reads to the chapters that be 2 or 3 sentences, y'all. And if I must say, if I had to choose one, not a favorite chapter, but if I had to choose one chapter that really just sums up the Quran in its entirety, I mean, man, it's this one. But it's like you gotta read the previous chapters to this to even have this one just really pierce you. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, if you're spiritually dead listening to this, or you're spiritually dead just reading this specific chapter, it something as powerful as this, a straight fall on deaf ears. Man. So we have to be grateful towards God for everything. And we just have to understand that it's going to be a day where our mouths are not going to be able to talk for us. That the only thing that's going to be able to talk for us is our hands and our feet. And everything we've ever done. You know, it says, I'll read Surah 99 real quick. Just real quick. It's called the Convulsion. 99, Az-Zalzalal, or the Convulsion. It says, the period of revelation, it says that some people say that it was a Meccan surah. Some people say it was a Medina surah. I'm going to just go ahead and read the surah. It says, in the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful. When the earth is shaken to its utmost convulsion, and the earth brings out all its inner burdens, man shall say, what is happening to her? On that day, it shall report whatever had happened on it. For your Rab shall have commanded it to do so. On that day, men shall proceed in sorted out groups to be shown their deeds. Then, whoever has done an atom's weight of good shall see it there. And whoever has done an atom's weight of evil shall see it there. You know, y'all, I can move my hand up and down like this, y'all. I just moved some atoms. An atom's weight of good and an atom's weight of evil is going to be showed up on the day of judgment. I remember reading the entire Quran and then coming upon this surah, Surah 99. It's only 114 surahs. And, you know, the last ones are short. I mean, you see how short that one was compared to Ya-Seen. But I remember reading that. Then whoever has done an atom's weight of good shall see it there, and whoever has done an atom's weight of evil shall see it there. I remember reading that, and I said, wow. Why would I ever strive to do any evil ever again? Then I said right then and there, I said, from this point on in my life, I'm going to strive to do as much good as I possibly can. And everyone has their internal battles. Everyone is human. No one is perfect, right? But all we can do is strive to do good as much as possible. You know? Because an atom's weight of good is going to be, I mean, you holding that door for that old lady or for that young man, you holding that door is going to be brought up. When you just going in and out of the gas station. Like, a simple white lie will be brought up, you know? But God is the most merciful, but it's like we sin at our own risk. We sin at our own risk, y'all. And we should just, every opportunity we have to do good, we should do it, because the Adam's weight of good is going to be brought up. And every opportunity that we have to stay away from evil as something we know is wrong, that we know innately is wrong, we should stay away from it, because the Adam's weight of evil is going to get brought up. Every time you talk behind somebody's back, every time you just do something you know you ain't supposed to do, know that's displeasing to God, it's going to be brought up. An Adam's weight of evil, an Adam's weight of good is going to get brought up. An Adam's weight of evil is going to get brought up. So I pose a question. Why not strive to do only good for the rest of your life? Why not? For what reason? For what reason? Why wouldn't you strive to do only good for the rest of your life when an Adam's weight of good and Adam's weight of evil is going to get brought up on the day of judgment? Unless you're just a silly goose, unless you're just a non-believer, unless you just don't care, unless you haven't. And another thing about the Quran, it breaks down heaven so thoroughly, and it breaks down hell so thoroughly. And once you really start understanding what heaven is and what hell is, it's like, man, let me go and get it together, man. Forget what people think. You know what I'm saying? Forget what society tells me is all right. God is telling me what's right and what's wrong. You know? So that's my message for today. Hopefully, y'all feeling what I'm saying, and y'all felt what God said in Surah 36, Ya-Seen, and Surah 99, the Convulsion. You know, may peace and blessings be upon all of the believers, and may peace be upon everyone.